Y'all know what time it is. Loud bang time. Okay, good. The sensitive information stayed inside my box this time. Hello, everybody. My name is Spoons Rattling. Welcome to another video of unboxing Hatchet Heartworks Combat Patrol magazine. We've got our next issue in here, so let's get right into it. Looks like this is... Sorry for all the loud noise. That just kind of comes with the territory. So we obviously got our second premium kits here, which is great. First up, we have some Havocs. Sorry if the plastic is really loud. There's not much I can do about that. So this is going to be Havocs Part 1 of 2. Looks like we've just got a handful of the Havocs here, which are, of course, Space Marine, Chaos Space Marines equipped with very heavy weaponry, and they're in heavier armor as well. They're a full multi-part plastic kit, and they look quite nice. I actually don't have a unit of Havocs, so I'm glad to finally have them. How I'm going to build them, probably las cannons and auto cannons, and then just run them all as las cannons. I do quite like the look of these models. Overall, I think it's a great kit. Here's some classic artwork here. Here we've got the instructions on how to build your Havocs. They give you sort of the loadout they want you to use in Combat Patrol, but again, I just build them however you want them, and then use them as they are in Combat Patrol. Here we have some talk of the Red Corsairs, with some artwork I actually haven't seen of them before, with that sort of teal cloth. Sorry if you can hear the police. I guess someone's on a chase right now. And here on Blackheart, of course, who we're all expecting to get a new model very recently, or very soon. Here he is, looking very menacing. Here we have Armory of the Damned, which is going to cover things like armor. As you can see, the standard power armor. The sort of Frankenstein chaos armor. Then you have the heavy weapons, of course. Jump packs with the Warp Talon here, soon to be updated, and Terminators, some of my favorite models ever. And then you have Obliterators and Hellbrutes, and the Land Raider. Just kind of covering the bases of the Chaos Space Marines. Here you have a short story of Wraith Constructs versus Orcs. And you have your Havoc name generator. I can grab a dice. Let me just check. We have a fittingly evil-looking dice. Here you have some introduction to the Orcs, which we're going to be getting after these guys. Orcs and Votan, I believe, are next. Alright, we got a 3. So, these Havocs delight in attacking the largest and most fearsome enemies they can find, engulfing the foe in bolts and shells. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Here's your Havocs datasheet again. Follow this when playing Combat Patrol, but I would just build them how you want. This is a very good Combat Patrol, the old Chaos Space Marines. Here you have charging up terrain, very important. Here we have things more about the fight phase, consolidation, and then here you just have some diagrams to help to know how to pile in, because remember, you cannot pile in if you're in base to base. So make sure to remember that. I'm going to keep this off. Hopefully it won't be as loud. Jesus. This is an interesting thing. Havocs are on 42 mils. Or not 42, 40 mils. Which makes them a little harder to convert. Here you just have the rest of the heavy weapons, some Havoc autocannons, the las cannon, heavy bolter, which all look quite sharp. I quite like the armor here, lots of nice chaosy bits, great helmets. The whole 9 yards. I think the Havocs look quite nice. Here we have some artwork of a Defiler. Here we have the painting, which is very simple for Black Legion, and they look quite good, even with just these very basic paint scheme that they have with this limited color palette. And They've been going very heavy on the metallics for the weapons, which I think is good when you're using a very limited color scheme. All very simple. I think very achievable compared to a lot of other painting guides that have been put out, both past and present. And then you get a very sharp look with black and gold because it is a great color scheme. Here we have some talk of demon engines, warpsmiths, who are, of course, the main manufacturers of said demon engines. Here you have forge fiends, which are, of course, big old demon dogs with plasma and big Gatling cannons, venom crawlers, mauler fiends, and the Lord Disco, who is, of course, an awesome model and one I need to get. It's one of the last units I don't have from the Chaos Space Marines. Here's another one, the Defiler, who is apparently getting a new model, if the Whispers are to be believed. And then Helldrakes, of course, awesome design, quite horrible. Here we have a short story about, just a description of Tzeentch. Of course, the Chaos God of Change. Here we have more Silver... No, not Silver Templars. No, they are Silver Templars. Silver Templars lore. Here's just covering up data sheets. It looks like they're using heavy intercessors as a sort of baseline, if you will. Yep. Here we have just Havocs tearing up infantry, which they very well could do. It's very simple. Obviously, use your Havoc Sergeant to cover close range while these guys fire at long range, which is exactly how these units function in the lore, and a good idea in general to soften up things that are nearby with your shorter range weapons. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 Tyranids win, 4, 5, 6 Marines win. Okay, the Marines win. It's a resounding victory for the Chaos Space Marines. As soon as the Tyranids come into view, they blast it to oblivion from their powerful arsenal of weapons. The main army is saved by the brutal efficiency of the Havocs, which is fitting for Havocs. Next up, we got the Hellbrute. Very excited for the Hellbrute. I'm probably going to build him right after this video while I'm editing this one. 38. 37. I'm going to take this off and cut it open. Here's the first part of the Hellbrute. I do quite like the look of Hellbrutes. I'm probably going to build him pretty much as he is here. I might swap the gun for auto cannons or las cannons or something, or maybe a multi-melta. I started mainly playing Renegade Raiders, so things like auto cannons definitely are a lot better. They're getting the extra AP, but also a multi-melta is just good for the aggressive role you want one of these guys to play, or at least the way I'd be using him, marching up the board with like Abaddon and some Vindicators. I really like all the head options they include here. You've got sort of human heads, if you will. Then you've got just a good menagerie of helmeted heads. I'm probably going to go with this one. Oh, focus. That one, or I don't know, maybe that one. Really cool kit. I love the look of the, what's it called? Electro Scourge. Even though I don't think I would use it because I can't pair it. Well, I mean, Fist and Scourge I think is a valid way to build this guy. Also, I think this is a valid way to build him. His plasma cannon is quite good, being damage 3. Ooh, that's some great artwork of Magnus there. Very good. Talking about the Demon Primarchs, of course. More sort of nonsense. Here we have sort of the different paths warriors may follow. Legionnaire fell down to chaos during the heresy. They spent thousands of years working to please their gods in hope of a dark reward. This traitorous authorities became one of the possessed by pleasing their dark patron and rewarded them with demonic possession and mutations. This demon prince was a great chaos lord. After winning enough victories, he was rewarded with ascension and now fights with even more zeal. Cultus was recruited on a desolate world. They risked their life in a deadly war. Desperate for any scraps of recognition or advancement, this cultist submitted to a dark ritual that went awry. Now they must live out their dark days as a tortured and grotesque torment. From accursed cultists, of course. Oh yeah, this Chaos Space Marine was forced screaming into the confines of a Hellbrute. Here he will remain until what is left of him dies, neither able to ascend nor fall into damnation. This former sorcerer lord was too greedy and could not bear the gifts that they begged their masters for, eventually degenerating into a chaos spawn. There's a quote from a chaos lord that I really like about hellbrutes, and it's him just screaming, saying, "No, no, not the brute. Anything but the brute. Kill me, you traitorous dogs." Something along those lines, because being a hellbrute is even worse than being a dreadnought, which is saying something, because being a dreadnought is an honor, but is also a heavy toll. Being a hellbrute is all torment, all the time. Short story, Hellbrute name. Oh, and that didn't really roll, but a 6. This is Bosgal. This Hellbrute is so dangerous they must be bound within chains when they are not in battle. That sounds about right. Here you have your deadly demise for your Hellbrute. Pretty good, you know, for just a tough thing to have in combat patrol. Here you have more going into the deeper rules of Space Marines for their secondaries, their enhancements. And then you have all of like the things you'd expect there. And then you also have the Tyranids, it seems, to get your extra rules for them. And stratagems, which you also have. All very cool. Yep, here we go. We see the next armies we're collecting. With Orcs and Votann, very excited. I love this combat patrol. Even if the boys are monopose, it's still a great combat patrol because you can pretty easily convert them just by sanding down their weapons. And then the Votann, I'm also very excited to bulk out because I like the Votann. All right, we're almost done with the normal stuff. Then we'll get into the premium package. Here's a lot of the body of the Hellbrute, some extra weapons as well. I really do quite like Hellbrutes. I'm glad to finally have one. I've used them on Tabletop Simulator a couple times, but this is some great artwork of some Chaos Terminators marching along. I love the giant tusks. Here you have painting up your units. Again, this color scheme is very simple, but very, very effective, I think. Some Warzone Nephilim going on, Necrons, Imperium, and all that goodness. Dramatis Personae, which is just important people. You got Gilliman, Stern, Ephraim Stern, Silent King, and Xeris. Here you have some Death Guard going on. Talking about Nurgle, Emperor's Children, Thousand Sons, just the deity-specific legions. Here you have the core strats you use in combat patrol, more demon stuff. You have a crazed Hellbrute is broken away from the army of Chaos Space Marines, driven to madness by his torment. He blunders away from the safety of their lines, encountering a diverse range of surprise troops from several different enemy armies. Here's the rest of those core stratagems. This is kind of cool. It gives you, like a... what am I thinking about? Like a survive the gauntlet kind of thing. I think it will be very fun to see this fleshed out. So, as the Hellbrute carves its crazed path, and then it has, so you get to heal yourself, get +1 to charge, +1 to damage, and +1 to attacks with your hammer. And it lets you customize your own custom mode, pretty much. Let's see. Again, same old, same old. What'd that roll? I rolled a 5. Hellbrute victory. Hellbrute may have been overcome eventually, but his fall was cushioned by the bodies of his enemies. Nobody can live forever with his Hellbrute, and his glorious victory will be spoken of for many thousands of years among the traitorous brethren. Perhaps this is the closest most we'll ever get to immortality. Very excited for this next one because we're getting Terminators and Wraith Guard. That will fill out my Wraith complement, as well as give me some Terminators to bulk out the rest of the squad options for my Terminators. Auto cannons, twin lightning claws. So this one, of course, comes in the nice box, and there's just an absurd amount of plastic in here. Because you get a lot here. First up, you have Howling Banshees, which I really like. I'm glad to get these gals and guys. Howling Banshees are predominantly female, but they can be male as well. Great kit, great design. Happy to have them. Just need to get 5 more, and then I have my Howling Banshees. They're on 25s, of course. And then we have one of my all-time favorite kits in the Demon Prince. Now, I already have one of these guys. Admittedly not painted up the best, because I painted him up in a speed paint type method, so it might be time to build up another one, but I'm thinking I'll give him wings, just so I have the option to run with wings. The Winged Demon Prince isn't too bad in Renegade Raiders, because he can have that enhancement to reroll everything when you're within their deployment zone, which is quite good. Here are a lot of the Chaos God specific stuff. This is a bit of a complex kit, but it is an awesome one. Love this sword, and the axe is, of course, very cool as well. I'm not sure how I'll build them, but I think I'm going to go with wings, just because I already have a couple on foot Demon Princes. I have the old one, and I have this one. And so this will be my 3rd Demon Prince. So first up, we have the magazine, How to Build. It's going to be your Howling Banshees. Giving you good tips on how to make sure your models are well balanced, and telling you how to make sure all your stuff is well dried. Then you have some glamour shots. Building the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince is a very complicated model, so got to keep that in mind. So I don't believe we've gotten most of these colors. We've gotten some of them, but not all, to paint these gals up. But they give you kind of a rough idea. This is, again, very achievable. They're not doing anything super insane on these gals. And then give it a wash, and it looks quite solid. Very simple and battle ready. Painting the Demon Prince, of course, is going to be a undertaking, but he'll look quite damn good doing it. And painting the lava, of course. Demon Prince are permanently fused with their power armor, Hellforged weapons, infernal cannons, all the good stuff. And here their data sheets. They give you both the data sheets for Chaos and Who's and What's It's. Now these guys, since they're from the premium, they don't get combat patrol data sheets so much, but the units we'll get next month, we will. And then you have the data sheet for the Howling Banshees, very cool. Dark Coronation, mission briefing. Here you just get another mission for combat patrol. You get your extra units here. You get a Howling Banshee unit and the Demon Prince. Very cool. I like this box. Very good month this month. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.